Welcome to today's episode of The AI Edge, the podcast where we dive deep into the world of generative AI and its real-world implications. I'm your host, Matilda, and today we're joined by someone who is truly at the forefront of this space. Tridib Ghosh, a LinkedIn top voice for generative AI, an AI-centric business entrepreneur, and a design thinking evangelist. Tridib, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure to be here. I'm looking forward to discussing some of the challenges that come with providing creative services using generative AI.
Let's start with the most fundamental challenge, educating clients. Generative AI is still a buzzword for many, but there's a knowledge gap. How does that impact your work?
That's a great starting point. Generative AI has immense potential, but many clients only understand it at a surface level. They know AI can create content, but they don't grasp how it works, its limitations, or even the ethical consideration involved. This often means I have to dedicate a lot of time to educating them before we even start the project. For instance, I have had clients who thought AI could instantly generate a brand campaign without understanding the human creativity and strategic alignment requirement. So I have developed workshops and resources to explain the capabilities and the process behind using AI effectively.
Do you ever face pushback from clients who think the education isn't necessary?
Sometimes, yes, clients often expect AI to be plug and play. So when I start explaining the nuances, they may seem impatient initially. But education is critical because it sets the foundation for everything else. An informed client is always easier to work with.
That ties into our next point. Clients who've scratched the surface but don't understand the depth. They might have experimented with ChatGPT or design tools but lack a deeper grasp. How do you handle that?
This is very common. Many clients come to me having tried out a few AI tools and think they have cracked the code. For example, someone might say, can't we just use AI to generate our social media calendar or design our packaging? What they don't realize is that while AI generates content, it's not strategic. It doesn't understand brand values, tone, or the nuances of audience engagement. I usually take a step back and walk them through the process. I explain them that AI is a collaborator, not a replacement. For instance, in branding, AI might create drafts, but we still need human creativity and strategy to bring the campaign to life.
Do you find they're receptive to this explanation?
Most of the time, yes. When they see examples of raw AI outputs versus polished humans enhanced results, they understand the value of expertise. It's all about understanding and demonstrating the gap.
Misaligned expectations are another big issue. What's your experience with clients not knowing what to expect from a project?
Uh, Misaligned expectations can make or break a project. I have had clients who thought AI could produce Hollywood quality video ads overnight, and others who underestimated AI's potential and limited their request to something as simple as a single Instagram post. What I do is start every project with a discovery session. This helps uncover the client's goals and align them with realistic outcomes. For instance, if someone wants an AI generated video, I explain the technical possibilities and also the limitations. Like AI is struggling with emotional storytelling unless guided properly.
Do you find it's harder to manage clients who expect too much or those who expect too little?
Both are equally challenging in different ways. When they expect too much, there's disappointment when reality sets in. When they expect too little, it underutilizes the potential of the tool and makes the project less impactful. It's all about finding the sweet spot, you know.
Let's talk about deadlines. There's this misconception that AI makes everything instant. I'm sure you've heard clients say, it's just a prompt. Why do you need more time?
Oh, yeah, I hear that all the time. The belief that AI is instant comes from its ability to generate quick outputs. But what they don't see is that iterative process behind it. Crafting the right prompts, redefining outputs, refining outputs, ensuring quality, and aligning them with brand guidelines that takes time. For example, generating an AI image might take a few seconds, but tweaking it to match a brand's aesthetic or incorporating client feedback could take days. I always explain the workflow in detail so clients understand where the time is going.
And when they insist on absurd deadlines?
See, I have learned to push back politely but firmly. I use timelines that past projects to show what's realistic. I would rather lose a project that deliver subpar work just to meet an impossible deadline.
Another big challenge is the perception that AI is extremely cheap. How does that impact your work?
Yeah, budget constraint. Yeah, this is a tough one. Many clients think the tool is cheap, so the service should be too. What they don't see is the expertise that goes into using AI effectively. For instance, I had a client who wanted a full campaign but came with a budget fit for a single social media post. I had to break down the cost, tool usage, prompt engineering, refinement, and my time as a strategist. Once I understood the breakdown, they were more willing to adjust with their budget.
Do you think the industry can do more to fix this misconception?
Absolutely. As professionals, we need to advocate for the value of our expertise. The industry should also standardize pricing for AI based creative work, just as it has for traditional services.
What do you think is the way forward for addressing these challenges?
Collaboration and education. Clients and professionals need to work as partners with mutual respect and transparency. As a broader level, the industry should establish standards for using generative AI covering timelines, budgets, and deliverables. I also see the need for more accessible training programs, not just for creatives, but for business leaders and marketers. When everyone understands the potential and limitations of AI, we will have fewer of these challenges.
Before we close, can you share some actionable advice for professionals dealing with these challenges?
Absolutely. Here are a few tips. Educate proactively. Don't wait for misunderstandings. Start every project with a briefing or workshop to educate clients. Communicate clearly. Use detailed workflows and timelines to manage expectations. Be transparent. Break down costs and processes to justify your pricing. Stand your ground. Push back against unrealistic deadlines or budgets, which is very important. But to do so with data and examples. Show the value, which is again a very important point. Share case studies to demonstrate the difference between raw AI output and a polished outcome, a polished work.
Thank you, Tridib, for such an insightful and practical conversation. You've shed light on some of the most pressing challenges in the generative AI space.
Thank you for having me. It's been a pleasure sharing my experiences, and I hope this helps others navigating similar challenges.
And thank you to our listeners for tuning in to this episode of The AI Edge. Don't forget to subscribe and share this episode with your network. Until next time.